And the last game we have for this episode is Shobu. The designer is Manolis, Vranas, and Jamie Sajdak.
Sounds right.
Sajdak. Artist is NA. Publisher is Smirk and Laughter Games. Shobu is a abstract game where there are 4 boards. Each board is a 4x4 grid. On each board, you're going to put 4 black pieces on your edge and 4 white pieces on the opponent's edge. And you have 2 boards on one side of this rope. You put a rope down. And there's basically 2 of the light colored boards. There's light tan and there's 2 dark brown boards. So on your side of the board, you have 1 of each board. And on the other opponent's side, on the other side of the rope, there's 1 of each board. And then each board has 8 pieces, 4 of each player.
Mm-hmm. And then the colors are going to be mirrored.
Yeah, it's mirrored. You're basically playing 4 games at one time, which kind of ties into how the game's actually played. The idea of the game is to push all the pieces of your opponents off of just one of the boards. The catch is, it's not easy to do this, obviously, because it's an abstract game. So what happens is you choose, on your turn, you have 2 actions. The first action must be passive. What that means is you can't push the opponent's pieces around. On top of that, you have to select one of the 2 boards in front of you, which means that you're choosing the light colored board or the dark colored board. The second action, which we'll get back out what the action actually does. The second action it has to be the exact same action that you picked from the first action. So I guess I would do an example. If you move a piece 2 spaces forward, that's your passive action because you don't push any of the opponent's pieces around. Your second action can be aggressive. It can be passive as well, but it allows you to push around opponent's pieces. But you have to pick a separate board, and it has to be the opposite color board. So if your first action is to move on a dark brown board, now you can move on the light tan board on either of the tan boards. So your first action has to be one of the 2 boards in front of you. The second action can be any of the boards, but it has to be of the opposite color board. And you have to move a piece in the exact same way. So if you move diagonal, like if you move one piece diagonal, like say northwest, 2 spaces, one of your other pieces that you move has to move diagonal northwest, whatever I said. Yeah, northwest. So you're basically doing 2 of the same action. It doesn't have to be the same piece on the other boards. Obviously, that wouldn't make any sense once the pieces start moving around. But what happens is you'll try to move a piece and then you can't, because in order to move it 1 space to the right, you have to move his other board 1 space to the right, and you can't do that. So you have to be able to do the same action twice, essentially. Mm. And while you're doing your second action, like I said, you can push a piece off the board, and that's going to lower the amount of pieces the opponent has on that board. And then if you can do that 4 times, essentially on one board, you win the game. Anything else that you want to point out? I think that's pretty...
No, that's pretty good. It's pretty easy rule set. You have a passive action and a aggressive action. Yeah. You cannot ever push more than 1 stone.
Yeah. There's you could block your own, get in the way of your other stones, so they can't push 2 stones off or whatever.
Right.
So overall, I didn't think I was going to like this because I'm not the abstract player of our group.
No, and actually abstracts are growing on me. I have been adding more of them into my collection.
Half the games we played at Origins were abstracts, actually.
Right.
Yeah, not really, but it was quite a few.
More than normal.
Yeah. So, I don't know, what do you think of this? Let's start off with you.
I'll say, I think it's definitely top 5 in my abstract games on the ones I like. Like you said, well, at first I thought it was more of a filler type of game, although our last battle together was an hour long,
We could shave maybe 10 to 15 minutes off of that.
Right, just because of, getting up to do, certain things.
People were showing up and asking us, so we had to really explain how to play the game. And
right.
Because we were playing, the whole idea is, we got 20 minutes, let's play this. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, it's a 15 to 30 minute game.
Yeah, that's what they say.
It was 45 minutes for us.
Right.
Multiple times. So, yeah, you know what? The one thing I really like about this game that other abstracts don't do, which is fine, it always feels like you can come back.
Oh, yeah.
You can be destroyed and still win this game.
You can be 1 stone to 3 and still have a chance because you're able to maneuver around that 1 stone.
Yeah, and if you kind of do things to kind of get the other player to fall into your trap,
Mm-hmm.
because once they move a piece, now maybe that positioning doesn't exist for them anymore.
Right.
So I know I'm going to put mine right on the edge, and they get closer to you because they were greedy, and they want to push that last piece off on the board, but then they're like, oh, I can't move any of my pieces to the right anymore because
Right.
they're all to the right or blocked by other stones and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say. There's another level of strategy there as well, because you have to not only keep track of where your stones are, what moves are still available for you, but you want to keep track of where your opponent's stones are and what moves they have available, because you can be in a bad position, but it's not bad at the moment because your opponent can't take advantage of those specific moves to dump you off the board.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Component wise, the game is awesome because it looks ancient.
Oh yeah. So I say it had. We had one person that didn't agree that it had killer components, but for an abstract game, I will stand by that and say the components on this is really good for an abstract game. It could have been a board and some chits instead, but they have big, thick wooden boards. They have stones. They have that little rope. So it kind of just ties everything in, and
Which the rope is there for aesthetic, but it's also to remind you that your
right.
first action has to be on the boards on your side of the rope.
Right.
We think that the rope is for victory dancing. So when
You
you win the
twirl it
game,
around.
you pick up the rope and you spin it around your head.
Yeah.
It's like you could just completely show off and make a fool of yourself. The rope probably wasn't necessary, but I'm sure it's not that expensive to add in the game.
Right.
And honestly, it does add a level of aesthetic to the game.
Yeah, I say it kind of enriches your experience because if it was just cardboard boards and just cardboard chits, that the game play experience would be lowered for me.
Yeah. This just feels ancient when you're playing it because you're moving around like these river rocks
Yeah.
and stuff. And yeah, I guess you could just make this game yourself, but there's a difference between making a game and supporting designers and companies who publish games.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like it has the Shobu logo on each of the boards and they're stained and stuff. They're not just like painted wood, which I thought was cool. It's like a stain and it smells good. But the rope, it's weird to say that at first I was like, why is this rope here? And it really does just bring out this like weird nautical kind of feel to it.
I see that.
It's just interesting. Almost like you can leave this set up on your table.
Oh yeah.
And people are going to look and be like, what's all this rocks and rope? And it's just very interesting centerpiece.
Let me tell you about this ancient game of Shobu.
Yeah. And you play it. It's like, oh, it came out this year.
Right.
So cool components. I really like this game. Like, I would agree it probably is in my top 5. I've never really thought about top 5 abstracts before, but it would definitely be up there. There's a very few abstracts that I'm really interested in after playing it a few times. Most time I play them and I'm like, okay, that was okay.
all right. Right.
Yeah. This one is amazing.
Oh yeah.
It's simply because you can come back. And I've always talked about War Machine and how it doesn't matter if you lose all your pieces to the opponents. As long as you have your Warcaster, you can win.
That's his game.
And that's
you only
pretty
need
much
one
just
piece.
Yeah,
Right.
you only need one piece. So it's really cool. And yeah, I'm really glad that we took the time to try this one out. And also, it is worth noting that we did receive this as a review copy, but I would have said the same thing. I totally do not play that game where I cater my my thoughts on a game after playing it if they gave it to us for free or something.
Right.
But this one's awesome. If you don't like abstracts at all, I don't know how much this is going to win you back.
Oh yeah, if you don't like abstracts at all, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it's not going to make you love abstracts, but if you do like abstract games, this is one of the better ones.
Yeah, and each time you play it, I think you're gonna see things that you didn't see the first time.
Which I have actually,
Yeah.
which I'll kind of share with you right now. So in our game, I attacked the board that was closest to you, top right board actually, and I think that was a flaw in my strategy because I really should be attacking one of the boards closest to me because
You have better
options
to move.
right? So I can take a passive or aggressive action on any of these boards to move around my piece. Whereas if I'm attacking a board that's on your side, and that's my main board that I'm trying to take over, I am more limited in what I can do just to that board.
Exactly. And what was neat is, and whether or not you thought this, but this is my idea, is while we were playing it, I just went full defensive mode on that board, specifically to attack you on two of the other boards.
Right.
And I mean, you caught on to that pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but
then,
but some people are too
change.
greedy.
Right.
You know, they're like, I'm getting it. Oh, I lost on that board.
Right. Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, all right, I'm going to sacrifice a piece to get me an advantage on this board. But doing that too many times, put me behind at the end. Right,
because then you have to go on the defense with another board, and then you can't win that first board you're going after. It's so cool. The other thing I like about it is it's pretty unique in the fact that you're basically playing four games at once.
You know what it reminds me of? That Super Tic-Tac-Toe.
Oh, Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe?
Right.
That's what I thought too.
Okay.
It's very close to that where it's okay to start. Well, in this one, you can't lose on any board, but in Tic-Tac-Toe, you can kind of just let one go away to try to win the game. You can kind of do it here too. You're okay with going down to like 2 stones. One is kind of scary. I don't necessarily think you should do that, but it's okay to lose pieces in this game.
Right.
Just because you lost pieces doesn't mean you lose ground. Whereas in something like checkers, or even in chess, well, not so much in chess, but a lot of abstracts, you get beat down, it's snowball effect.
Right.
And this is slightly snowball effect, but we're pretty, I think, decently skilled equally. And I think you mostly beat me in abstract games. This might be the one I held my own on pretty well.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. So super cool. I'm very glad we got to try this, which is interesting because we love Smirk and Dagger games, and this is not the game we went after. Like came to his booth for. I mean, we always go and see Kurt. He's awesome. He does a great job with all the games he comes out with. I mean, he's a one-man show. Obviously designers and volunteers and stuff, but he runs Smirk and Dagger. So this was a great addition. I mean, I think anybody having an abstract game like this in their repertoire is a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I never heard of the designers, and I hope they make more abstracts that are kind of like this. I like this mirrored effect where you do one thing and have to do it again.
Right.
But you don't really want to do it again, or maybe you can't do it again. So super cool. Any final thoughts on this one? Or
no? Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. Even if you look at it, if you are okay with abstracts, this is going to be a good one. If you absolutely hate them, probably not going to change your mind. I don't even know if I would try it, but you never know. You could always be like me and like meh abstracts.
Right.
And then you start playing them. You're like, oh, they're actually pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that it's not like some theme.
Oh, it doesn't need a theme. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Or like chess pieces and stuff that are intricate. Look, I'm glad it's just stones and rope. Cool aesthetic. So anyway, that is Shobu by Smirk and Laughter Games.